quite a name for himself as the go-to tech guy, running the back end of a lot of Zoom concerts. I first met him when he was doing stuff with Don White, and he has since just made himself such a guru of this world. And recently I saw that he was using Restream, so I couldn't wait to have him back and have him show something new to us. And I think we're going to get a lot out of today's session. So without further ado, please welcome Brandon O'Sullivan.
Hey everybody, how's it going? Good to be here again. So today we are here to talk about Restream. This is only going to be like an overview and kind of a tour of the program so that you can see what the possibilities are and figure out if the application is right for you. So what is Restream? Restream is a web-based platform for streaming content to multiple locations. Also, it has like a very basic studio mode. I began using Restream because it seemed like the simplest and cheapest way to begin multi-streaming for my clients. I did mention that it has a live studio mode, and we'll dig into that in a little bit, but I don't really use that too often. I'm going to show it to you, but me personally, I just use Restream mostly to rebroadcast content from Zoom or OBS out to Facebook, YouTube, etc. And you know, all of these new programs we're all learning about are mostly subscription-based programs. And I know that with all those, there's a lot of options. It is not always clear what the best choice for you is. So I figured it would be best to start there. So let me just pull up a little queue real fast. All right, so here's a quick snapshot at the pricing guide. Obviously, we can all look at this in our own time, so we're not going to dig too deep into this, but just to give some quick explanations. With the free version, you can multi-stream to many platforms. You can only do one channel per platform, so you can't have two different YouTube pages you're streaming to at the same time or Facebook pages. It is compatible with OBS, Zoom, other software like that, which is kind of cool. For those of you who like OBS, it's a very great way to up your production quality. The free plan, you can only stream to your personal Facebook profile. If you want to stream to a page or a group, you'll have to pay for the standard. Also, when you pay for the standard, you get an extra additional channel to the same platform. So you could have two streams going to Facebook or two streams going to two different YouTube channels, for example. All right, now this studio section, again, we're just going to quickly go over. Basically, Studio allows you to stream right from your browser without needing any extra software. Like, you don't need to learn OBS in order to stream out. The whole point of this is supposed to be very simple and easy to learn. You can also do text and comment overlay, add your own titles, things like that. You can screen share just like you can on Zoom. And then the free version has up to 6 stream participants that you can kind of have in your green room and bring out and spotlight when you want. You can choose who's on screen and who isn't on screen. And then you can do 10 or more with the standard version. All right, now in order to get to the Restream website, you just got to click on restream.io. That's the website. Once you have an account, it'll take you right here. All right, so here's a look at the web-based Restream application. The cool thing about the fact that it is web-based, for anybody who is familiar with OBS, you probably understand that it is a beast of a program. It is very big. It requires a lot of your computer, and unless you have a very up-to-date computer, it's probably too much for your computer to handle under most circumstances, especially when you add streaming from it on top of that. So that's the cool thing about it being web-based, is all the hard work of the stream is put on Restream servers, not on your computer. So that being said, it's obviously also not nearly as powerful as OBS. But once you're in here, the main thing you're going to do initially is add a channel. So I've already got a couple selected here, but it's just adding a channel is just as easy as clicking on that button, and then you can select any of these options. Now, these ones down here in the blue are only available with the with a paid version. You can get it with the base paid version. That's $19 a month. At least the Facebook Live you can. These ones, I believe, are just with the professional version. So signing up is just as easy as clicking on this and then you'll go ahead and click connect to Facebook. You'll sign into your Facebook, and that's that. You can go ahead and get all of them set up at once. You could have, hundreds of these down here, even on the free version. You can toggle them on or off if that's the one you want to stream to for this particular stream, which is kind of cool. So you don't have to reset up all of them every single time. You can also up here toggle them all on or toggle them all off. Now, the cool thing too is this, because it integrates well with things like Zoom and OBS, you can go ahead and copy your stream key right here. And then you can go over to Zoom. This is in the Zoom website, zoom.us. Schedule a new meeting. We'll just do, some random stuff here for a test. Hit save. And then just like in the last video, I showed you guys where you can set up your custom live stream settings in Zoom. You can go ahead and click on configure live stream settings, paste your stream key right here. And then your stream URL, that's what you're going to grab, this right here. Copy, put that there. All right, and now live streaming page URL. When I do this, I always put the Facebook link here, whatever your Facebook Live link is. Facebook recently added a new live thing, so you have a live tab on your page where all your videos will go, so you have the same link to send somebody. So it'll probably look something like facebook.com/Brandon O'Sullivan. Could spell my last name right. /live. And that's that. All right. So that way and you want to go ahead and actually copy this off the Facebook website. That way, this is, if anybody clicks on the link, like in Zoom, for example, to watch the live stream, they'll go right to this Facebook page. Another cool thing you can do is if you've got all your channels ready to go, say you're streaming on every single one of them, you can go ahead and update the titles, and it'll change it for each one. It's not going to change it for this YouTube one because this one is actually scheduled for a previous page, but I can go ahead and change the title to, let's call this Restream Test, and description in. And then this gaming content, this is for somebody who's streaming live video games, and you can go ahead and, pick whatever game you want out of there. And then if you hit update all, you'll see that, boom, the title's automatically changed and on all of these places, which is pretty cool. All right, so next we're gonna go down here to this little camera button and show you the Restream Live Studio. So this functions pretty much the same in a much simpler form as OBS. I haven't used StreamYard myself, but my understanding is it's pretty comparable to this. This Restream Live Studio was basically Restream's answer to StreamYard, trying to capture some of that market as well. So you see this right here. It's the same as Zoom. You can mute yourself, unmute. You can start your camera, enable your camera. You can click to share a screen. You can share whatever screen you want. You can do applications up here. You can do specific tabs within the same browser. And then just like Zoom, actually, you can, if you're showing a specific thing, you can turn your computer on or audio on or off as well, which is kind of cool. And then here is where you invite guests. So you can go ahead, copy this link, send it to whoever you want. And you can only invite 6 people if you're in the free version, but I have the pro version right now. So I can invite up to 10 people in the stream. I'll show you how all that works in just a moment. You can also play a local video. So you can, this is in beta, so I'm sure there's probably going to be some bugs with it. But if you have a little video intro, for example, you can kind of plug it in there. Just go to your computer and open it up. Now, settings over here. This is where you can do all of your different audio inputs. So it starts on default, but if you have like a Scarlett 2i2, for example, it would pop up right here, which is pretty cool. And then you can also select your camera here, right? So hello, how's it going? All right, and then you can also turn on or off the audio processing right here. So this basically is like original sound in Zoom. If you turn this on, it's in speech mode. If you turn it off, it doesn't have all the echo cancellation, noise suppression, all of that stuff. So if you're playing music, you want to make sure that this audio processing is not on. This is basically the same. Having this unchecked is basically the same thing as having original sound settings turned on in Zoom. All right, so now let's invite some guests. All right, so you click on that plus with the little buddy icon thing. Tells me up here, because I have the pro version, I can invite up to 10 people. So I'll go ahead and click that button to copy. And then I'm just going to go ahead and send it in an email to a few other devices I have ready on hand. So as you can see, I've already done that. I've got a couple people up here. So these are dark right now. This is my iPad and my phone. So right now, everybody only sees me, right? But you can also bring up somebody here, do a little split screen, which is kind of cool. You can bring up a third person. Obviously, you're not going to see the whole camera as this happens. You can see the difference right here. There's this much on air, but if I'm in a tri-split screen, it cuts off a lot, which is pretty normal. You can also toggle this up here, where you can see the whole video, you can see your background back there, or toggle back and forth between the two. You can also basically, all right, everybody's back in the green room. I can just go ahead and click, boom, spotlight this guy, and he comes up. Do it to the other one. It automatically cancels the spotlight on the others. But if you notice, these little thumbnails are down here because I didn't click these off, right? So you can still leave the thumbnails up if you want. If you're doing a show with like a round after party with like a song swap type thing, you can keep the other artists' videos on down here so that everybody can see them interacting with the show. All right, so now I want to show you the rest of the features that Live Studio has to offer. My favorite thing is this chat integration right here. So it comes preloaded with a message just so you can see it says the chat is ready to display messages. Click on a message to show it on screen. So you go ahead and hover your mouse over it, and then you click on the eyeball that says show. You'll see that that chat message pops right up on the screen. As long as you want to, then you can hit hide message from the stream to make it go away. So if a fan pops up in the comment on Facebook and says, hey, that was my favorite show, thank you so much for playing it, you could go ahead and bring it up so that everybody can see the comment from Facebook. You could also bring up a comment from YouTube if you have that set up here as well, which I think is kind of a nice nod to the fans, and it's just a nice touch. Now we'll go over here to captions up in the top right corner, and you can add pre-built captions that are ready to go. So it has a couple of Restream ones preloaded, which obviously you probably wouldn't want to use. You can just pop them up, hide them, click on it to show, click on it again to hide. I have a couple preloaded for today just to show you guys. So Farm, Restream, Tech Talk. I could have, I could make my own down here. So I could just type in whatever I wanted in primary, type in whatever I wanted in secondary, and then add the caption, and then it'll load right up here, ready to go. The next cool thing is the graphics panel up here in the top right corner. You can, now all of these options that Restream has preloaded, like their logo, their overlay, here, let me get rid of this caption over here so you can, all right, just see the graphics, the logo, the overlay here, so basically an overlay, this will show up right on top of your video. So here, let me turn my video on just so you can kind of see how it will look. All right, so you can turn your overlay on or off. You can start a video. So they've got a pre-built 30-second countdown timer in the video that comes for free, which is cool that you can use. And that's the only one that isn't very obviously branded with Restream's logo. And then they have a background, which you can turn on. And then if my video is no longer on up here, everybody will see that background. I have this one I preloaded in today as well. The only thing is you cannot upload your own versions of logos or overlays or video or backgrounds unless you have the professional paid account. You still can't use those features if you have the cheapest paid account, the $19 a month one, which is unfortunate. But so the real power of this live studio comes from having the professional version. Then you can have your own custom branding all over the place. And also when you stream out from Restream with a professional account, it gets rid of their watermark Restream logos, and you don't need to have anything branded by them. Also down here, you can turn on or off participants' names. You can very easily change your name to whatever you want. And you'll see that it changed automatically there. But change it back, changed automatically back. You can also, let me turn on one of these captions. You can also change the primary color. So this will affect the box here for names and the box for the secondary part of the caption. So I'll just show you. You can go ahead and change it to any color you want here. If you have a specific hex key for a particular color, I'm not going to go ahead and I'm not going to go through that and explain that. But if anybody's into graphic design, familiar with photo editing software, things like that, if you have a certain color you're looking for, you can copy that color code down right here. Then if we go up into setup, that change titles globally feature that I showed you under destinations is here as well. So if you're in live studio and you're getting ready, you're streaming on all of these platforms, you've got them all ready to go, you can go ahead and change your title here and change your description and hit update all, and you'll see it change on all of these. All right, one other thing I want to show you is down here, these little bars, analytics. So it's pretty cool. You can see a pretty comprehensive report amongst your stream and all of the streams that you were going to. I do want to point out one thing. I'm not really entirely sure why it happened, but the YouTube numbers glitched out and didn't record anything as far as how many people were on. So this is basically shows us how many people were on at what part of the show. And this is total, but you can also have it just display Facebook. Right now, Facebook and total are the same because it didn't record any of my YouTube stuff. I'm not entirely sure why that happened. But the analytics is a new thing. And to be honest, that's what it means. Beta is that it's a new thing. They haven't quite perfected yet. They're just trying it out. The cool thing is Restream seems to be pretty on top of upgrading their software and putting out new things all the time and always improving on old stuff. All right, the next thing I want to show you is this little calendar icon along the right-hand side, which is the scheduler. So if you click on scheduler, this window will pop up here. What this does is it allows you to schedule a stream for a pre-recorded video. So you can upload a video right from your computer. But it is free for videos up to 1 gigabyte in size and up to 30 minutes long. Now, most of you probably know that a gigabyte is not a lot for a video file, but as long as it's a small video and it's under 30 minutes, if you have a song of the day that you're trying to put out, you can go ahead and use that under the free account. But if you want to go above and beyond 1 gigabyte and 30 minutes, click up here to upgrade in the top right corner, and you'll see the packages they have. So this is a separate, the scheduler is a separate subscription than your regular Restream subscription. So if you want to go over and above that and say maybe replay a video from a concert you did a few years ago, for example, you would need to purchase one of these packages here. All right, now the last thing I want to show you is if you click on these three little dots right here at the very bottom along the left-hand side, this full menu will pop out and you can log out, you can check your billing, you can look at your settings, you can access the help center. The cool thing about Restream is they have 24/7 live help, meaning that you don't have to sit on a phone for a couple of days and play phone tag with somebody, or play phone tag, even better yet, with a automated service, and hopefully get the answers you want after a few days or a week of arguing. You can talk to a real person, which is pretty neat as far as tech companies go. But the last thing I really wanted to show you is this chat right here. So this is going to look very similar to the chat that we showed you in the live studio. But the way that I use Restream is I don't use the live studio. I mostly just use Restream for its ability to stream to multiple places. I use it as a waypoint. So I will start out in an application like Zoom, for example, and stream from Zoom to Restream, like I showed you before, and then just use Restream to multi-stream out to Facebook and YouTube, etc. So if you're not using the live studio, then the chat app, the chat part of the live studio is not going to be very functional for you. So instead, if you're just using it how I use it as a waypoint, then you can go ahead and click down here, go to the chat, and they have a separate application you can download for the Mac. If you're on a PC, it'll say download for PC. And then, or you can just open it up in the browser. So now this is exactly the same as the one I showed you before. All the chats for each of the things you're streaming to will come up right here. You can go down to, actually before I show you that, it's pretty cool right down here, this little eyeball in the bottom left corner. Not sure if you can see that here, but right down here, you can see this little eyeball will show you how many people are watching across all of the platforms. If you're streaming from Zoom to here, Zoom will not be included in this. Zoom's chat will also not be included in all of this chat because Restream will only compile things that it has its hands in, the things that it is streaming out to. You can also go down here to settings and change some general settings, like go to the appearance, make a couple of adjustments to size and readability, take it out of compact mode, so it might be a little easier for you to read. But that is pretty much it.
All right, everybody. I hope that was paced a little better than my my last video. So before we get into the Q&A portion of all of this, I just wanted to kind of follow up on the last talk I did and let everybody know that I've kind of been putting, I put together some training for Zoom interactive performances. I've got a couple of people I've been training in regards to that. So if you have anybody that is, you know, fairly tech savvy or knows how to work computers and you want them to train to run the tech side of shows for you, you can go ahead and grab my email out of the chat, and I will be happy to help you out with that. So now let's open it up to questions. Did you get any? I think you're. There you go.
Sorry about that. I saw, it looks like you actually answered a question on the chat. Did you?
Oh, yeah, I tried to. I sent it to the wrong person, but I'll go ahead and answer that out loud right now.
Yeah, actually, we don't even see the question. So if you don't mind asking the question.
Yeah. So the question came in to me from Mark. He said, could you chop up a video and restream the pieces? And that is a very creative idea. I think that would work. However, I know that they limit the amount of videos you're allowed to have loaded up at once. So say if it were a 2-hour show and you were allowed to have, you know, as long as they were all under a gig and you still had them all under 30 minutes, I suppose you probably could get away with having like a 4-part stream. But it might end. They might not allow you to upload that many at a time. I don't remember what the default is on how many you're allowed to load in at one time. It might be 1 or 2 for the paid version. But either way, you could, if you had say a concert from a couple years ago and you could cleanly split it up into 2 or 4 pieces, you could probably stream from, you could probably do them over separate days without a problem. But you might run into an issue with that. Just depends on the size of the files. Sarah said she got the time zone confused, came in late, and yes, the recording will be available on the farm website, so you can check it out later. All right, so what we got here? Jeannie? Jean?
Jeannie, yeah.
Jean.
See, I don't even need to be here when Brandon shows up.
I actually don't have a question. I bumped the blue hand by mistake when I was looking for it.
Oh,
Okay, cool. All right, well, you got the stage. Are you sure you don't have anything to ask?
I'm really new at all of this, and I'm pretty confused, but it helps to just hear you talking, and then I can go hear you again. So I'm so thankful that you guys are saving these, because I'm watching them all over and over. And that's all I have to say. Thank you.
Okay, yeah, absolutely. And thanks, Annie, for doing all these. This is really great, especially that they're offering it up to people who couldn't make it.
thanks, Jeannie.
Louise?
Hey, Louise. All right, I'm getting out of the way.
I'm just
Questions,
I'm
by the
really
way.
used to being the MC. I'm
I'm
sorry.
gonna raise my hand.
Just too tight.
Hi, Brandon. Good to see you.
Hey, go on. Let me bring you.
Just a quick commercial of endorsement. Brandon has made our series possible. Without him, it would still be kicked around and being pontificated, the weekly series that we do.
You'd be in the basement.
Yeah, I'd be in the doghouse. Quick question. You mentioned that if you start with Zoom and then go to Restream, why not start with Restream, go to Zoom and other platforms, and then everything would be in one spot? Is there an advantage to starting with Zoom?
You could absolutely do that. That's completely doable. It'll be just as easy as setting up anything else. The reason that I typically don't is because, as you know, most of my clients, like Don, for example, that interaction of the fans on Zoom is like the main thing for most of my clients. And if we stream from Restream to there, none of the other streams will have that interaction, and the artist won't be able to hear it either unless they're watching it on Zoom. But if we're recording everything in Restream, we can't get that. We can't like import that customer interaction. So hearing the laughter and applause won't make it to the performer's ears, and it won't make it to the Facebook and YouTube stream, which is really, the main reason to use Zoom, as far as I'm concerned. I know a lot of people don't like it because the quality isn't as good. You get like a 90% quality, but being able to connect with your audience and being able to reach out to them and show them that you care and that you want to hear them, you want to hear their requests. You don't want to just play for them and have you give them money, or the other way around. You want them to come and hang out with you and join in everything. So that's kind of the main point of Zoom, as far as I'm concerned. I don't think the quality loss is worth it if you're not getting that, and so that's why I stream from Zoom to Restream. That way, that interactivity and that like community aspect becomes a part of what everybody sees on Facebook and YouTube.
And are there any technical requirements that someone would have to have if they started off with Restream? In other words, the person that is performing or the person that you're interviewing or presenting, would they need any special steps? Okay.
No, not at all. I mean, as long anything everything you're signed on with today, as long as you've got a good camera, it's the same like requirements as anything else. You want to have a good camera, but you can use the camera you have. You want to have a good mic, but you can use the mic you have. It'll affect the quality, but because that's the cool thing is because it's web based, all the strain is not on your computer. So even if you don't have a good computer, even if you just have your phone, you can still be invited to the Restream side of it and just use your camera. It'll probably be a little harder for you to use if you're on a phone. It won't be as easy to figure out all the settings. But because it's web based, as long as you can connect to the internet, you should have no problem using it.
Excellent. Thanks a million.
Yeah.
All your help. Thank you.
Yeah, thanks. It's great.
All right, I got Mark next.
Hi, can you hear me now?
Yep, yeah, we got you.
All right. Yeah, I sent this in chat, but I was looking for a comparison of Restream and StreamYard in terms of if you're going to go buy something, what are advantages, disadvantages of the two?
All right. Well, so like I said in the video, I personally have not used StreamYard. I did go actually have somebody give me like a crash course on it about a week ago. I just went through and asked him a bunch of questions just because I was curious about it. So the only thing I can speak to is what I've been told and my understanding of it, which, you know, is basically what I've deduced from asking questions and just looking on the website. So I'm not sure that what I can say will be very helpful to you, but I'll be happy to give you my understanding as I see it. Is StreamYard basically is the same kind of thing as that live studio thing I showed you in Restream. I believe it has a little bit more functionality, and like you can, because that's the main thing. They don't have the ability, to my knowledge, to for free stream out to over 30 platforms, which is the main bonus of Restream, is that nobody else offers that for free. Anybody else, you know, you have to pay to stream to more than one location. You might even have to pay to stream to one location. I'm not sure what the comparison is for StreamYard on how many they let you do for the base price, but I don't think there's a free version. So I believe this, as far as the studio aspect, I think you can do more as far as controlling your split screen and like where the screens go. So you'll have a little bit more customization as far as the production quality and how it looks to the guests. But I also don't believe that you can. I don't believe you can stream to more than 2 locations on it. I could be wrong about that. So I think they're comparable. Annie's shaking her head no.
Not without paying. Not without paying.
Not without paying. So do you know about StreamYard?
I know just enough to be dangerous. And Brianna did do we have a StreamYard talk. Go out to our farmvirtualconnections.org website. Shameless plug. And you'll find Brianna's talk on StreamYard. And yeah, I think you get one platform.
That's what I thought, yeah.
To 2, it starts at $12 or something, and then prices go up from there. So yeah, I mean, personally, from my perspective, based on what I just saw from Restream, like I'm more interested in Restream for a lot of reasons. But I have questions. If nobody else has a question.
Go ahead. Shoot, you got the stage. It's your stage.
Well, first of all, like one of the things that was interesting, I want you to demo this for me, because you showed the Facebook Live link, the Facebook, you know, that link.
Oh, you want me to demo how to find that?
I think that, I think it would be really helpful to show people, because it took me a little bit for my personal Facebook Live link. It's not as intuitive as one might think.
No.
So mine, I
So
love that.
while I get this queued up, let me, because it's going to take me a second to get that ready, I'll diatribe a little bit on Facebook. They want everything to be as complicated as possible, and they change it weekly. Very often I go through a training with somebody to try to show them how to do something, and I'm like, oh, they changed it again. Hang on, I got to figure it out. You know, let me get back to you really quickly. It happens all the time. So they recently just added a live tab page. So let me get the page queued up, and I can show it to you. So which is good because it makes it easier for you to. So the one thing that's kind of annoying about Facebook too is you can't schedule a live stream more than a week in advance, which a lot of people don't like because they like to get those links out there and start promoting and sharing them to their email list. And while I think most paid promotions in this day and age in the world on social media are better done within 2 days prior to the event, I think as far as like an email list, getting that stuff out as early as possible is always best, because the people who really check their email list still run on normal people time, not COVID time, where everything needs to, like, I'm going to catch a show if I hear about it 10 minutes before it starts. So here, I got this pulled up now. All right, so basically, hang on. Okay. All right, so what I did here, so let me just start over, so in case everybody doesn't know how to find this in Facebook. All right, so I'm on a page I manage right now. So to schedule a live stream, right under here at the very top of the page, you'll see Create, and then you want to go to this Live button. So once you click on here, what pops up is this, basically this Facebook Live Studio. So right up here, you'll see New Live tab on Pages. So this is the link that you're going to give to everybody for any Facebook Live performance. So you can just go ahead, click copy. And like I said, it's facebook.com. It's the name of your page and then /live. So you can go ahead and copy that. And then this is what I plug into the bottom part of Zoom. Just because if somebody is on Zoom and they see the little button at the top that says we are live streaming, they can click on it and they have an option to go watch the live stream. And we want everybody to go to Facebook usually. So that's the link I use for that to make sure they go to the right one. And then down here at the very bottom, you'll see, hang on, you guys see this zooming in okay? Mm-hmm. All right, cool. Right down here, you have Show Live tab on page. You might not have this yet if you haven't activated it, but you'll need to click that to turn it on, and that activates the live tab on your main page. So I'm going to go ahead and really quickly, I'll give you a quick walkthrough of this, and then I'll just go back to show you the live tab thing, where it is and where to find it on your normal page. So this right here, the first setting when you open up is Go Live Now. If you're not using any streaming software, you can use your camera. Click on that right there. You can go live right to Facebook. Just put in your title here, put in your description here, and then you can also change from to share it to a page you manage or in a group you're a part of or to your timeline. And you can select which one it is right there. And then you can also cross post to more pages that you're an admin on automatically. So it'll automatically stream to both. And then you can also, you can also publish as a test broadcast if you click that button down there. And what that does is it means only people who are admins will see the broadcast. That way you can see the final product and make sure that something isn't getting lost in translation, which happens. Always test everything.
Yes.
Yeah. And never stop testing things. And right when you get it right, you're going to mess it up. So test it again. And then, so basically, this is the server URL that I would copy. Right here, this is the server URL. The way I know that some of this is confusing for people, so I always say the server URL is the weird one that starts with RTMPS. That's basically the stream server URL. On Zoom, they just call it stream URL, so it can be a little bit confusing. And then the stream key is there, and then this is the link you'll have. So you can go live now. You can schedule a live video up here, and then you can click on upcoming live videos and events to see things you've already got scheduled to go in and edit them. But now that that's out of the way, let me back up and I can show you where you can find the live tab on your page. All right, so now that I clicked that on, you see right down here under home and all these links, you see live. And if you click there on live, everybody can see all the past live videos you've put all in one spot. And when you send them that link that says live, see this right here that I just clicked on is like past live videos. But when you send them this link that just says live, it'll go right to a page where it'll have an update for, Brandon O'Sullivan is going live in 5 minutes. And so they can click on there and enter the page, and it makes it very simple for them. So I hope that was helpful. Annie?
Okay. All right. So now I have more questions. I'm sorry. Yes, it was very helpful. And
Okay.
it wasn't that easy before.
Yeah, they recently changed it again. Yeah.
All right. So when you do a Facebook Live, or when you use OBS, you get the stream key from Facebook, right?
Yep.
And you can, if you use OBS, you can only stream live to one place, and
Yep.
that Facebook offers you the stream key. If you use, I'm just clarifying, Restream is where you get the stream key.
Yep.
And do you have to put that stream key in Facebook now, or does that happen on it because you connected?
Here, let me pull up OBS real quick. But so basically,
All right, so here's a quick snapshot at the pricing guide.
Sorry.
Obviously, we can all look at this in our own time, so we're not going to dig too deep into this, but just to give some quick explanations with the free version.
sorry about that. I
So
got all this stuff queued up already,
I
and
understand it, but it's just the stream key thing because it goes back and forth, and it's like ultimately with
yeah,
if so that's the same thing with Zoom. There's no stream key generated from Zoom. You're getting the stream key either from Facebook or YouTube
yeah.
or doing both, which you need Restream to do, or another.
Right. So the best way that I can describe it is the stream key is basically destination coordinates. So
Nice.
you don't need a stream key for whatever you're starting in. Like for me, if it's OBS, I don't need a stream key for that. If it's Zoom, I don't need a stream key for that because that's where everything begins. And then I will take, for example, what I do is I take the stream key from Restream, and I'll plug that into Zoom or OBS because I'm telling those programs only have one place they can send stuff. So I'm going to tell them, okay, I want you to send it to Restream, and then I go to Restream and say, okay, now Restream, I want you to send it to everywhere else. So then I have to plug in all those other destinations into Restream. It can be, it's a little confusing at first, but once you do it a few times or have somebody walk you through it once or twice, it's a little easier. At least I feel like it is. That might not be true. I know some of my clients just have me schedule all their stuff for them because I've tried to walk them through it a few times, and they're just like, yeah, you can do this. It's fine. So
No,
yeah.
it's not. It's right. I understand, and I think that was really clear to me now. Like suddenly, I'm starting to understand the difference between, like the destination. What did you call it? Destination.
Uh, it's the it's the location of the destination where you want to send it to.
Gotcha. Okay, so next question. If I'm doing a Zoom thing that's already hard to get sound on, and then I'm using Restream in between to send it out to Facebook and YouTube, how does that, if I get the best sound possible in Zoom, does that sound just as good, or is there degradation? Do you have
It's the exact same thing. So there's no a Restream matches audio. I actually, before I got Restream, I had asked somebody who had heard about it. Thanks, Mark Smith, for that. He said, "Are you ready to write streaming for dummies?" Maybe I should. So one of the things I was told, not by somebody who had used it firsthand, but by somebody who had heard a lot of complaints about Restream, was that there was a quality loss and that they had a hard time getting the sound right. I think they were talking about specifically broadcasting from Restream. But on Restream's website, they say that they match quality. And I've done several shows over the last few weeks using Restream, and I have seen no quality difference on video or audio. And I know, Annie, you saw a few of them. But while we're on the topic of that, one thing that I didn't really touch on in the video that I wanted to make sure I brought up is something I heard about StreamYard that I strongly suspect is the same for Restream, because the original sound settings in Zoom, they're pretty specific, right? You can leave on certain things, shut off certain things. So in Zoom, when we do the original sound, we leave echo cancellation on because otherwise everything that comes through your speaker will go back in. So I was told by the guy who's, I don't know if he's an expert on StreamYard, but he knows a heck of a lot more than me. He told me that when they use StreamYard, they have to have headphones on, the musicians, I believe, because they can't be as specific about the echo cancellation. Is that right, Annie?
Yeah, I think Brianna touched on this a little bit too, that they had sort of this crazy echo thing one time that happened.
So Restream is the same way. As you notice, there was only one button to click to do the original sound thing in Restream. You can't specifically say, no, leave echo cancellation on, but shut everything else off like you can in Zoom. So it'll need to be the same thing. You'll probably need to have headphones on all of your performers so that there's no, because if the sound is picking up the music, they can't shut off the echo cancellation. I'm sure that's something that is going to be, I'm sure that's something they'll probably work on and fix all these platforms since everybody's using it for music. But that's just something I wanted to make sure I pointed out while it was on my mind.
Yeah. Dennis, you had your hand up, but it's gone now. Have you changed your mind? Raise your hand again if you still want to ask your question.
Dennis, all right.
Yes, I'm going to let you take that, Brandon. You got him?
Hi.
Hi, Dennis.
Hi there. So I just want to understand the concept, at least some of your clients you you use Zoom for a front end, and you have a certain number of participants that watch the show and interact via Zoom, and you also at the same time are sending to Facebook and YouTube for people that can't interact, but you get more of an audience that way.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. So basically, the one of the cool things that has come out of all of these experiments with mostly Don White trying to break Zoom, which has led to some great benefits for all of us, is the creation of this like inner circle thing, right? So all of the people who have the access to the Zoom link are basically they're the VIPs. They're the inner circle. They can interact. They have, you know, they get a little better access to the artist. Sometimes they do Q&As at the end. There's almost always nowadays, I know Don started doing these in all his concerts. A lot of people are doing them too. Are starting song circles at the end where they'll invite a few guests to come play after the show. They'll swap a few songs around. So the people in Zoom get kind of special treatment. We still broadcast all that out to YouTube and Facebook so that everybody can see what they're missing. But also at the same time, not everybody likes Zoom. A lot of people are in Zoom meetings all day long, and the last thing they want to do is relax and hop on another Zoom meeting. So even if they're still staring at a screen, watching on Facebook or YouTube is much better for some people. So it's important to give your audience as many options as possible, because there are so many ways to connect with your favorite artists or things you're a fan of. And for all the millions of platforms, most people have one that they use. You know, most of your fans only use Facebook or only watch videos on YouTube. So I think it's really important to offer up as many options as possible. And that's really one of the main reasons I chose Restream, because even on the free version, I can stream out everywhere. I do want to reiterate something I said at the very beginning of the video, is that Facebook, you can only stream on the free account to your personal page. You cannot stream to a group, or so like if you have a fan page or a band page, you can't stream to that. You'd have to stream with a free account. You'd have to stream to your timeline, your regular page, and then share it to your band page. You could do that, but it's not quite the same. Not quite the same thing. Plus, it's adding an extra step of things could go wrong, and you know you might forget to do something and watch the wrong one and miss most of your fans. So. Does that answer your question?
Yes, it did. Thank you. Does it take a special kind of person to control 30 people on Zoom to keep it from going?
So, you know, I'll talk on that briefly, but I think I went over all that I think I went over too much very thoroughly in my last talk about when we went over Zoom specifically. I know that Annie has that on the website, so you can check out that if you want to know the specifics. But just to touch on it briefly, it takes a little practice, but basically what we do is how Annie had you guys all, you know, told you guys how to raise your hand at the beginning of the show. We use that method to pre-vet the audience. So once everybody's in and the show starts, the first thing we do is a tech explanation. I show a video, a little visual aid of how to open up the participants window and how to raise your hand so that everybody can visually see it, and it makes it easier for them to find it. And then we tell everybody, as long as you're in a quiet space, we have to be very specific about what that means. We would like everybody to be unmuted. We would love to hear the applause and the laughter, but unfortunately, if you're cracking a can of beer, eating a bag of chips, your dog starts barking, your phone starts ringing, or you're talking to your neighbor, everybody will hear that as loud as the performance, and it'll interrupt the show. So we tell everybody, as long as you're sure you're in a pretty quiet space, you can raise your hand. That's how you are volunteering to be unmuted. We normally get 10 to 20 people per show who volunteer, and then I will unmute them, and then I'll just keep an eye on them, because as you can see over in Zoom, if you look in the participants window, right next to my name, because I'm talking right now, that little microphone is like lighting up and going back down. If there's a lot of noise, that doesn't happen, but if there's only a few people who are unmuted, it's usually really easy to figure out who's making noise. And I just keep an eye on it. If somebody starts making some noise that interrupts the show and is longer, like if it's a cough, I'm not going to worry about it. But if somebody's like singing, because unfortunately, as you know, you can't sing along because of the delay, it'll ruin everything. If somebody starts singing along, I'll mute them really quickly. And then because they have their hand raised, they stay at the top of the list. So everybody's pre-sorted. So if we've got 120 people in the meeting and only 20 people raise their hand, I'm only managing 20 people, and it makes it suddenly a little bit easier. So it's something that it's a muscle memory thing. It takes a little bit of practice. The first time I did a show for Don, we were only handling Zoom, and I remember like being really nervous and feeling like there was so much to do and so much to remember. And then I did it once, and it was like, oh, it's actually pretty easy. And then so we just kept making it more complicated. We added more streams. Now I manage a bunch of chats, watch the streams, comment everywhere, and it's because I've done it enough times. It's fairly simple. But if you know somebody who has I would recommend somebody who computers aren't a total stranger to them. If they know how to log into their several different accounts, if they can access their email easily, then they can be taught how to do it. It just might take them a little longer if they're not as tech savvy.
Thanks a lot, Brandon.
Yeah, no problem, Dennis.
And now I am for putting in Brandon's contact information one more time at the end of the chat. We are winding up our talk here, which has been great. And Brandon, thank you as always. This was excellent. Apparently he couldn't sleep last night. I'm sure he wants me to tell you this. So he did last night. So it's like, I can't talk right now. So you're doing fine. And but yeah, Brandon's email and information is up there. He's very generous with his time, but try not to bombard him too much. But as I understand it, if you're interested in providing tech for people, which I think is a really viable job right now that you could actually, people are willing to pay for, I would strongly recommend doing a training session with Brandon, and getting familiar with all this tech is pretty awesome. I'm pretty sure that a few people here can vouch for him. I would like to wrap up also by saying that we are a little unclear about next week, but what we think we're going to do, and I think this would be a good idea, is bring back, I haven't talked to Brandon yet, but bring Brandon back, maybe Sav, who, if you were at last week's Tech Talk, Brianna, Charlie, bring back all of the folks who have done Tech Talks for us, and have just an open Q&A. So no speak, just show up. Like for those of you who were at previous ones, or maybe you're starting to use the software now, or maybe you started and you're like, oh man, what did they say? Or just whatever, just an opportunity to just shoot questions at these folks. We're going to try and get a video expert in there, as I said. So what do you think? Raise your hand if you like this idea. Okay, you're raising your hand physically. I'm going to gallery view us now.
Yeah, almost everybody raised their hand. I think everybody did. Actually.
Okay, cool. Then let's hope that we got some people to show up, because then we're still working on the week after. And if you like what's going on here and you want to support and you've got a few bucks in your pocket, Farm is always willing to take your money. These things are free, but we're starting to offer sponsorship programs. So farmvirtualconnections.org. Oops, I'll try and type this properly. This is so not prep. /help. Anyways, you can find all our past videos. You can find out ways you can help. You can submit suggestions for workshops you would like to see and panels you would like to see. Our next panel is going to be next week, and it's called Show Me the Money Part 2. We're going to talk to a couple of folks who are very successfully continuing to raise money since shutdown. So I'll let you know who those are as soon as I know. I'm kidding. I know. I'm just not. But yeah, how about everybody flap your hands for Brandon one more time? This was great. We really, really appreciate it. I'm a new fan of Restream, and I'm going to give it a go. So as always, we appreciate you. And as always, we appreciate all of you for showing up here today. And as usual, the ending is going to do what it does and abruptly stop. So everybody say peace.
Bye.
Love. We'll see you next time. Thanks, Brandon.